pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As required by the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, adequate notice of this scheduled meeting has been provided to the public by notices given to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, and Sentinel, posted on the library bulletin boards and website, and given to the Township Clerk's office. Roll call, please.
Good evening. Ms. Kraus?
Here.
Ms. O'Neill?
Here.
Ms. Mead?
Here.
Ms. Pam?
Here.
Mr. DePasquale?
Here.
Mr. Patel?
Here.
Mr. Alcantara?
Here.
Mr. Romano?
Here.
Ms. Massey?
Here. All right, well, I would like to welcome our new board member, Shreyans Patel, who this is his first meeting. And I think we will, before we do anything else, we'll do your oath of office.
Sure.
Okay. Should we? I guess we'll go down here. We'll go right over here, yeah.
Hang on.
I,
I,
Shreyans,
Trans,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the Office of Library Trustee
of the Office of Library Trustee
of the Edison Public Library
of the Edison Public Library
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
No, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Now, the first item on the agenda is the approval of the February 7th, 2023 minutes of the regular session. Hopefully, you've all had a chance to review. Are there any questions or comments?
I move to approve.
Any second? All right, then the minutes are approved by unanimous consent.
No, I have to abstain since I was absent.
Thank you. All right. Now, I do want to make sure to offer Carolyn Cullum congratulations on her retirement after more than 41 and a half years working at the Edison Public Library and Children's Services. And I'm sure we all wish her good health and happiness in her next chapter. And I hope that many of you had a chance to see the new bookmobile on Amboy Avenue on Saturday for the St. Patrick's Day event that they held. The public response that I heard was really very positive. And if you have not noticed it on the website, there is going to be a kickoff meeting for the Friends of the Library at the Clara Barton branch this Monday, March 20th, from 7 to 8. Now, if you want to become a Friends of the Library, you are not, you don't have to attend. But if you would like to find out more information, you're welcome to register and attend on Monday. And that is it for my report. So our next item agenda are our financial reports. Hopefully, you had a chance to review the financial reports ending February 28th, 2023. We have the operating account, the capital account, North Edison account, and payroll account. Are there any questions or comments about any of those?
I actually have a request.
Sure.
Sorry. For the new, the report that I guess is coming out of Edmonds, is there any way to put that into an Excel spreadsheet or a Google spreadsheet or something? I have this is so tiny, it's very hard for me to track.
We can do that.
No lines, so it's really hard
Yeah,
to
it
track
is hard to.
across. Thanks.
How are
Any
you
other
doing with,
questions or comments?
Yeah, how are you doing with the Edmonds and payroll and everything? Is everything going a little more smoothly now?
Yes, everything is going very smoothly. Amanda has done a fantastic job, I will say, and I keep telling her that. I think she's very patient, and there's a lot of pieces of that that you don't really know until you start. So it's been almost glitch-free. Nothing is perfectly glitch-free. There was one little glitch that we caught right away. So it's going very well. I think we've started to, because now we have access to actual cost of payroll. You'll see them reflected in the Edmonds as they are posted. So we'll be able to get a more accurate account of the cost of payroll for this year than we did before.
Well, good. Kudos to you both. Edmonds is quite difficult. I looked at it a little bit and I was like, oh boy.
It is, and it isn't. Some days I want to scream. Other days I'm just going along, and so is Amanda, like, oh, it's nothing. But it's every once in a while. It is a very powerful software package. It's used by municipalities, including our own, which use it to manage, multiple times the amount of money that we are. So it really can provide us with what we need.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes.
Fiona?
Under the salaries and wages, it's zeros all the way across, and then you have full-time and then part-time. Do you need that salaries and wages? Or is that just like the category, and full-time, part-time is the subcategories?
Now, with actually the part-time, the part-time, we don't use that. We use line 013, temporary and seasonal. We don't separate, the payroll doesn't separate the full-time and part-time. So we've never really used that. It's really the salary line, and the temporary and seasonal pretty much is what we have always used Pro Libra as.
Okay, so would you be able to separate or remove salaries and wages and part-time?
We can attempt to do that. We could do that by hand, but
Okay.
the system won't do that. May I just ask what the rationale is to do that? That would be helpful for me.
No, and I'm looking at the zeros going all the way across, and then I see full-time, and then part-time with zeros all the way across. So I was just wondering if it was a category, then subcategory, category, subcategory.
Right. I mean, we're probably we will have one more report out of Edmonds, which will be March at the end of the quarter. After that, we should be going to the new chart of accounts, and we can get rid of that part-time line when we do that.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, Ray.
I believe there's a few things that are not right on the percentage used when it comes to the budget. So for the first one, the cleaning and maintenance of the building, it says year-to-date we expended $580. Budgeted is $114.02, but it's saying that 78% of the percentage used. When you look on that line, I think it's on the first page? First page.
Yes, so the anticipated revenue, yeah, I see that. I can ask them why. Well, it's the anticipated, which is, if you remember, it's 25.25% of the budget, 1402. So we have year-to-date expended, and what it does is, until we actually write the check, it shows an encumbered. So we actually written a check for 580. We have 515.50 encumbered. We have a balance of 308. That probably would make 78%.
Oh, okay.
That's what, until we, like tomorrow when we write the checks, all of those encumbered will go out and they'll be in the actual year-to-date expended.
And the other comment I have is, I know there's the other professional services and other contractual. Most of that, I take it, is for the building. Is there a way we could just add that in to the grant? Because we know we have it, to put it in on the budgeted line. It's the same page, fourth one up, and the third one up, because it's showing 366% used. And then underneath that, it says 308% used.
Let me look and do a run-in to see what got charged to that. And I think part of the discussion with finance when we moved to the new chart of accounts is where to put what. These, with the way we were using the town, this is the Edmonds was still using as the township had set up for us. So many of those lines were, I'll call it the best way I could think of in English, was squished together. So for example, if I was looking for the legal services line, I could not find that here. That becomes under professional services, for example, simply because there is no legal in this, but there will be when we break everything down. So that was the whole point of changing to the new chart of accounts, so we could break everything down. For example, we are working on the state aid report, and we put all expenditures for books, periodicals, AV, online databases, everything goes into materials, because that's the only choice we have. But now the state aid report, we have to go, we have to go through physically, run reports on that to see what goes into those categories. So you'll see a lot more splitting out and a lot clearer. So we want to finish this quarter, and we have a longer time now between this meeting and the end of April, and that should give Edmonds enough time. We have like 6 weeks to work with us to get the chart of accounts changed. So if we don't have it for the March 31st, starting April 1st, we'll have a new chart of accounts that I think will be clearer for everyone. And then once the board sees that, we'll be able to go back in and leave some space and tweak. If there's lines that we want to divide up even further, we'll make sure that we leave some empty lines so that we don't have a choice in here, because it's programmed that way, and we can't touch it. So if there's anything else that the board would like to see, besides, to me, it was automatically, I need to get the books and materials split out, the legal, the contractual, and we're gonna try to make it clearer so that everyone has a lot more transparency. But it also helps us, as we'll plan our '24 budget, that we'll get to see real numbers, not numbers that are squished together, if that helps. So anything that you think you'd like to see, just let me know as we work with them with the chart of accounts, and we'll split it out.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none, let's move to the bill list. Has everyone had a chance to review the bill list? And if so, are there any questions or comments? The bill list dated February 28th, 2023. Any questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Yes. There we go. Ms. Kraus,
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill,
Yes.
Ms. Mead,
Yes.
Ms. Pam,
Yes.
Mr. DePasquale,
Yes.
Mr. Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Alcantara,
Yes.
Mr. Romano,
Yes.
and Ms. Massey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now the next item is the directors and assistant directors reports.
Okay, if I can just put stuff on the side. Too much white paper over here. Everything looks the same. A couple of things. Let's start with personnel changes. I think our president already talked about Carolyn Cullum retiring after 41 and a half years. She will be on the payroll till the end of March. We had a really nice retirement party for her, attended by library staff, past and present, this past Sunday. And she will be sorely missed for many generations of children here in town. Carolyn has been their children's librarian, and when we were on the bookmobile on Saturday, several, I would say, parents, now in their 40s, remember having Carolyn as their children's librarian. So she will, I think we might see if we even get her to come back and do some programs for us, because I think she would love to do that. We mentioned it the last month, but officially Gabe Ramos, who had been a senior librarian in the Adult Services Department, is now moved on to be a branch manager at the Union Public Library. And as things happen, because it's funny, because Gabe is actually taking a job that John Taquino, who is our new head of the Clara Barton branch in the bookmobile. He's here tonight. John, you want to stand up? John had previously had worked at the same branch that Gabe is working to at the Union Public Library. So I think they did exchange some stories. And John comes to us from the Stavos Foundation Library at New York Public Library. So he's doing a great job at Clara Barton. So we are expecting a lot of things happening, and we're starting to work on programs for Clara Barton. The bookmobile update. Bookmobile is here, it's working. We are now starting to work on bookmobile procedures as well as routes. We had two teachers on Saturday, parents, teachers, come up to us asking us already to come and visit their schools. So I think that the bookmobile is going to be in demand. We're going to do a full launch during National Library Week, the last week in April. April 26th is National Bookmobile Day, and we're going to be doing a real kickoff, and then the following Monday, we will start our routes around town. Plans for this summer are to try to work with the town recreation department and to do bookmobile visits in the parks and do story time. So we're really excited about that. And I think I mentioned, as a side note, today was our first story time in the mall. This is the second year that we've been invited to do that with the Easter Bunny. So Jessica went today with her competition with the Easter Bunny. Library Foundation will probably be meeting in April, but we're working with the foundation. They are going to support prizes for the Summer Reading Club, and they are going to help us get some of our gaming equipment for gaming with the teens. That's very much in demand, and we never had our own equipment. Clara Barton branch, I already mentioned John, and we have the meeting next Monday being held there. But I will just say, actually, I think Miss Massey and I were there for a meeting, and when we came out of the meeting, we kind of both stopped. They were like, parents and children all over the first floor in the children's room. So I think, and these are people I had never seen before. So we knew when we were talking to the community that there are a lot of parents and with families moving in. And I think now with John there, we'll be able to reach out more to them. And we're going to start shortly to see if we can meet with the PTO at Hoover and at James Monroe. And finally, the North Edison branch, Miss Massey and I and Deborah and some of the staff had 2 meetings at the North Edison branch. We're currently working with our architects to come up with a clear footprint as well as costings before we go to the next phase. So we hope to meet with them next week. I try to keep an eye on what's happening with the other construction projects. I would say half of the construction projects from round 1 are not even started or just about ready to start. So the fact that we are working with the engineers and getting some feedback, getting some ideas, they all tell us that we're much farther than they ever were. And finally, I realized I missed on this list the main library, even though I included it in the summary report. We did meet twice with Anthony Iovino to look at the main library. I think he's going to be coming back, or we'll have a Zoom meeting one more time with him and hope to make a presentation this month with the facilities committee to get some feedback on the design. And Anthony is planning to be here at the April meeting to talk about his ideas for the main library and to get some input from the main board, from the entire board. So that in summary is what's been going on from my end. Anything you want to talk about in regards to, I think you should talk about the relationship with the Edison Police Department and how they've been working with us.
Oh, yeah.
Very successful.
So we have been meeting with Detective Hauk and Hudek, and we are hoping to collaborate with them on a game day in early April, mid to early April. It's an early dismissal day, so we're hoping the kids will come in and they can compete with some of the officers on playing video games, just to like build a relationship with the community, with the police department. So that's very exciting, and also part of the reason why we're asking the foundation for the consoles. And we also have had 2 very successful SCORE meetings for starting a small business. The last one, I think, the first one had about 48 people. So that is a nice start to a collaboration with them as well.
Oh, that's very, very good. I am sure parents will appreciate anything for early dismissal, that there would be something for them to do. That's a great idea.
And we've had both ARP and ARP this year doing taxes at the main library, and suffice it to say, it's been full house, packed, and we're going to have to try to figure out how we somehow can expand that to the other branches next year, because there was such a great demand for those services. So if we start early, as soon as this is done, put in a word for next year, I think that would be really good for us, because many of those people have never ever come to the library. So good opportunity for them to come in the library and see what we've got.
That's excellent. Thank you. The next item on the agenda are the committees. Now, you all received, hopefully, the updated committee charges for 2023, and thank you very much for volunteering to serve on them. The only committee that met this month was personnel. Sue, I don't know whether you want to give any wrap-up thing on that.
Yeah, I guess the main thing that we can say is that we did meet with the union, and it seems like we are going to have a contract, finalized. It wasn't ratified the first time. We tweaked it a little bit, and we're hopeful that at the end of this month, I believe, they will be meeting and they will ratify the contract, and then that will be settled, and we'll be good for 2 years. And we did change the dates so that in 2 years, both contracts will be up at the same time, because it is our goal to have them be on the same page with the same wording, same timing, because we are, as Alan is always saying, we are one library. So,
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So I see, do we have any, no, we're going to skip 7 here, and we're going to go to old business. We have a resolution to approve a contract to Anthony Iavino of the firm Arcardi and Iavino for professional architectural and design assistance for the North Edison Branch Library. The fee for the North Edison branch is $4,500, and the Clara Barton branch, the fee is $2,500, as outlined in the proposal. You may recall that we had discussion about this last month, and instead of having a do not exceed, it was having an actual, what are they going to do? So do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, do we have any questions?
It said, do not to exceed.
No, this is not to
Previous
exceed.
one said not to exceed.
You are absolutely right.
Okay, now this one here says the fee is going to be $4,500.
Yes, that's a flat fee.
Instead, okay, so what you're saying to me now is if you've changed it to $4,500 instead of the wording that said not to exceed, but now it says $4,500.
Well, I think that's what the board wanted.
Okay, go
last
ahead
month.
and talk.
I'm sorry, did
Oh,
you?
no, go right ahead. You're the boss.
No,
No,
sorry.
I'll be quiet. Trust me. Go right ahead.
All right, just to clarify, last month there was discussion about a proposal, a resolution, do not exceed. This resolution is for a flat fee. And you're absolutely right that the architect went back and reviewed exactly what he would be doing and then came up with these fees. Are there any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Ms. Kraus?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
yes.
Ms. Mead?
Yes.
Ms. Pam?
Yes.
Mr. DePasquale?
Yes.
Mr. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Alcantara?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
No.
Ms. Massey?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. The next resolution under old business is to table the RFP for the accountant services and refer the issue of job description to the Finance Committee, allowing the current accountant's professional contract to expire. Now,
Why?
there probably, yes. I was going to say, are there questions or comments?
Why?
Climate.
So basically, I had a chat with Ms. Massey in regards to the issue of the accountant. So we were basically having the accountant come in, assist me with Edmonds. And most of this was being done remotely. And we were doing that, and we were also at the same time going to hire someone to actually do our day-to-day administrative work so that Amanda can concentrate on payroll. And the third thing was that in the strategic plan, it really calls for the library to look at hiring a business manager who would then be responsible for this. So my rationale is that we've got three pieces piecing this thing together, that maybe we just need to sit back and look at what we really need and what we really want them to do, and hire one professional rather than splitting this job three different ways and having someone come in once a month, a staff member working at a lower level, or do we really need a business manager? And what would they do? So the board had extended the accountant's contract in January for 60 days, which is why I'm requesting we table it, to give us some space to look at what we really need, and take a look at what other libraries do, and meet with finance and personnel and come back to either the board so that they know, or I have a better sense of, do I follow what the strategic plan says, or do we just fill positions the way we filled them before? So that was my rationale for putting this, because I think we need someone here who can work with me and Amanda on a daily basis, and someone who really has Edmonds experience, or at least municipal finance experience. Because the more we do, the more we need someone who is a professional to help us do it. That's just where I'm coming from, if that helps.
Yeah, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
Yes, very quickly. When
I'm not sure your microphone is on, I can't hear you.
when will the contract expire? And when, like, are you able to work without an accountant for now? Once it does, like, is this a necessary thing going forward, or in the immediate future?
I thought it would be more helpful than it really was. I really need someone here more like every day, or at least in, more than coming in once a month to look over our shoulder like a CFO. Because what really happened was we hired Amanda in the office, and when we hired Amanda, we still had two other staff people, and they both went to work for the township. So Amanda was doing double duty, and then we had someone coming in once a month. So we're really short at this point, 1.5 staff people in the office. And so I've been taking up some of the stuff. Deborah's been taking up some of the stuff. But we really need someone who can take this and run with it. So if it's 2 or 3 months, I think we can manage until we get someone in. But I think between now and the next board meeting would be a great opportunity for us to explore the options, come to personnel and finance, and let them know where we're moving and where we're going to, and get some input from the board on this.
Okay, I will have more questions, but I'd like to wait until the finance committee meets, and then we can discuss it at the next board meeting. Okay?
All right, so far, we do have this resolution, which is just to table the RFP for accounting services. So does anybody want to make a motion for that resolution?
So
Motion.
moved. All right, second.
Thank you. All right, so, yes, all right, so Joe Romano, and second. All right, any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Ms. Kraus?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Mead?
Yes.
Ms. Pam?
Yes.
Mr. DeBasquale?
Yes.
Mr. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Alcantara?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
And Ms. Massey?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next resolution is to extend the RFP for auditing firm for 30 days.
And the rationale is we're still working on it and we've not had a chance to send it out yet. It took us longer to get it done than we thought. I also reviewed how we have previously looked at the auditor. So what I gathered from the minutes and how we did the auditor is, as the board realizes, we are always a year or 18 months late. I shouldn't say late. After the year is done, the audit is done, because we can't do our audit until the township does their audit first, because our numbers are interdependent because of the splits and previously because of payroll. So our auditor is still working on the 2021 audit, which they should be finished shortly, and I hope to have for the board at their April board meeting. So when we approved the 2022 auditor last year, it really was to do the 2022 audit, which actually won't be started until late fall of this year. So this, in my interpretation of how we've done it, even this RFP for auditing services, even though the board would approve it in 2023, it's not till next year's audit, just to clarify. So it isn't as if we don't have an auditor. We're now still working with the 2021 audit. And and the auditor can't start the 22 audit until probably September or October of this year. So we do have time. We're not without an auditor. We have someone that we call Suppley Clooney, for any kind of questions we have. So I wanted to clarify that in case the board was concerned that we didn't have anyone. We actually do. We're still working on the 21 audit.
Thank you. Any
I'm
questions?
sorry.
Yeah.
I'll go
Yes.
through it.
I apologize. We're talking about 21? Year
I'm sorry.
2022, 21?
Yes, he's finishing up the 21.
At the Board of Ed, if I had somebody talk to me about the year 2021, they would skin me alive. I couldn't even make it out of the boardroom. You're telling me that we're talking about 2021? My budget at the Board of Ed is $300 million. How much is your budget? Our budget here isn't nowhere near that. And you're telling me that it's going to take us 18 months?
It traditionally has always taken 18 months behind. And that's because we can't start our budget, our audit, until the town finishes theirs and the town council approves the audit.
The town council? Are we talking about the same town council that's sitting alongside of you?
Yes, and the reason is...
And I'm not complaining about her. I'm only complaining the simple fact of the matter is that if I took and proposed a budget at the Board of Ed and it was 18 months late or 18 months in the future, please help me because I'm going to get skinned alive.
Well, Mr. Romano, just for clarification, the library, unlike the Board of Ed, the library does not manage all of its money. So 1/3 of the library funding is currently still managed by the township for a variety of services. And until that's finished and we get numbers from the township, our auditors have never been able to produce it on January 1st for the previous year. And we still won't be able to do that because the town still manages part of our money. So we don't have access to everything until the township finishes their audit. I certainly would like to do it a different way, and if you can figure something out for me, I will certainly buy you more than lunch.
Oh, I'm baffled that, maybe there's oversight. Maybe we need oversight. Maybe the town should take an oversight, or somebody should be in charge of oversight, that if you're telling me that we're 18 months behind, I'll tell you what, how would we do this? How about we tell the taxpayers that it's all right to pay your bill 18 months late? When you take and you're talking about the amount of money that we're talking about, which is nothing, and you're telling me that we can't even come up with, what's this, is this budget or what you're talking about, is this actual numbers, or is this numbers that we think? I mean, not for
This
nothing.
is
wanna
for the
say for the
audit,
record
right,
that-
the audit.
We're not talking about the budget, right, Alan?
No, we're talking about an
We're
audit.
talking about the audit performed by the auditors.
Right.
So the budget's done. The budget has been done. I
Right.
just want to clarify that for everybody. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, this is, just to clarify, the budget is done. This is for the audit, We're just talking about extending the RFP for the auditing firm, and from what you are explaining, there's no emergency to have an auditing firm in place right now.
That's correct.
Okay, and I remember voting on that at the last meeting, which I
Yes.
understand, I agree. But I'm just not concerned, I'm confused.
I'd be more than willing to sit with you, Mr. Romano, and give you a little bit of history, and to talk to you and understand a little bit how the interrelationship of budgets between the library and town are intermingled and why.
I'd like to do that.
All right, excellent. In the meantime, do we have a motion to extend?
I still have my question.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
Yeah, I know we got a little,
sorry.
yeah. Very quickly, I was always under the impression that we hired the auditing firm for the previous year, not for the current year. So in 2020, we hired for them to audit 2019. In 2021, we hired them to audit 2020. Are you saying that that's not so?
I can't tell that by the minutes. The minutes are not clear, so it may be that if I can make a recommendation to the board, when the board votes next month for whoever they choose, that should be clear. Because the response to the RFPs usually, once you do that, the auditor is your auditor for this year, even though they're auditing last year. So, they don't go, oh, it was December 31st, I can't talk to you anymore. So in essence, you're right, but I think we should make that clear in the resolution and in the minutes. Because when I looked at previous minutes, that's not clear.
All right, so in that case, can we somehow either make it clear, or I don't know if Mr. Brady can help us, because we want to make sure that whatever was voted on in the past, it doesn't come back. If we don't take a vote now, if we just assume that we hired them for the 2022 year last year, we want to make sure that that doesn't come back and bite us, if you understand what I mean. So I'd like to make sure that we're doing this perfectly legally and crossing all our T's and dotting all our I's and all our J's.
So in the RFP, you want it as clear as well. So we're hiring them in 2023 to do the 2022 audit.
Exactly.
Okay.
And shouldn't there be a contract? We should have a contract with Supply.
Well, usually what they will do is, we did get automatically in your January packet, you had a proposal from Supply Clooney. And at that point, it did delineate, and then we have to sign off on it once the board approves it. And that wasn't done, obviously, because we did a 60-day delay in doing that. But all of the auditors, if you choose an auditor, and usually you're not going to go out for an RFP, they will send you the thing annually as they're required to do, to delineate what they will do, the cost of the audit, and that's a pro forma contract. You're kind of signing the, after the board has approved that they're going to do that. So yes, there's always something in the files for each year from whoever auditing firm. I mean, I know for the last 2 years, we use Supply Clooney here. So the last 2 years, they have provided us with their documentation, which was used to present to the board. Otherwise, I wouldn't get a figure for what they were going to charge.
Right, so then we still have to extend the RFP because an RFP hasn't been done. So we
Right.
still need a motion to extend the RFP for auditing. And I would suggest that we just get that RFP out, as soon as we can, so that we can clarify what years we're talking about.
And I'd also like to request that for next month, look into it, either talk to Mr. Brady or look at the records and see what we signed for. So if we do need to officially hire someone to do our 2022 audit, to find out if we've actually hired someone already or if we need to hire someone.
Let me take a
Because-
look at what we have from
difference.
last year in the files from Supply Clooney for 22, and it may say that they're doing the 22 audit, and that's why I'm saying, let me pull that from the files, and that you may have already approved the 22 audit. That's why, in my head, that seems to be correct, which is why you're doing this. This is almost the 24th. So let me see. I think we're okay if we do this. We need to do an RFP anyway. And then if the board did approve a 22, I will let you know that next day or two once I can pull it from the files.
All right, that would be great, because it would be good to have that clarification. So do we have a motion to extend?
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion or questions? All right, hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Kraus?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Mead?
Yes.
Ms. Pam?
Yes.
Mr. DePasquale?
Yes.
Mr. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Alcantara?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
And Ms. Massey?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, the last resolution we have is to approve the opening of the following CD accounts with TD Bank. CD in the amount of $1 million to be transferred from the capital account for 1 year. CD in the amount of $500,000 to be transferred from the capital account for 6 months. CD in the amount of $500,000 to be transferred from the North Edison capital account for 6 months. And this was discussed briefly, just because interest rates are going up, and as you have heard, we are not breaking ground on North, and we will not be. We just want to get as much interest as we possibly can from the money that we have sitting in these accounts. So do we have a motion for this particular resolution?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments?
Yes.
Yes.
I apologize. We got that kind of money in the bank. What type of interest do you know, or do you know that we're making on?
We're currently making in our checkings approximately, I think it's 2.75.
That's in your checking.
All of these technically are checking. They're all Gupta. They're all under the GUDPA, the government accounts. They're all getting interest at the same rate.
And how long do we have to keep the money there?
Well, these 4 are our regular accounts that we have. We are only doing 6 months and 1 year from the capitals, and that's providing us basically double the interest, 5.35 for the 6 months and 5.40 for 1 year. And that's about double of what we're currently getting. We did do a scan of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 banks, most of whom were very reluctant to give us actual numbers, but the numbers they gave us were all less than TD Bank was offering us. TD Bank did come out as the highest of any of the banks that we went through the discussions with. Most of them said also that, they can, if we were to go in and meet with all of them and talk about how much we were depositing, they might give us different numbers. But these were the numbers that we got were ranging from 3.68, 3.35, 3.80. The PNC was almost negligible. And so the TD Bank came out to be the top of all of them.
Thank you. Yes, right.
Madam Chair, I just have a quick question. Because this probably sat around for about a month and a half before this resolution. Are they going to hold to that number, or are they going to give another number? Let's say this board approves this now. Will TD Bank give us a different number than the one they gave?
This number came from us. This is Tuesday, right? We got this number yesterday.
Okay.
It's that close.
It may change a little bit, but
right. Well,
not by much.
Basically, I'm going to say this. If tomorrow I go and I do my email to TD Bank to do this, and this, and they come back with a really low number, I'm going to come back to the board quickly. Because that was the number she gave me yesterday in writing. And it came from the government account specialists, 2 people that we work with all the time. So we have it in writing. In fact, I have it in writing, Pat has it in writing, and Sue has it in writing. So all 3 of us, that was yesterday.
Renee over there at TD Bank is very good, and she's explained multiple times that the rates, when a government account is set by the federal government, and they don't always have that much leeway. Because we went back a couple of times asking them, if we could increase, our interest rate on it. And she said it was set by the federals. So I think hopefully we'll be in good shape, and I don't think it should be a problem.
Right. Are there any other questions or comments? All right. Hearing none, could we have a roll call vote?
Yes, Ms. Massey, let me go my sheet. Ms. Kraus,
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill,
Yes.
Ms. Mead,
Yes.
Ms. Pam,
Yes.
Ms. DePasquale, Mr. Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Alcantara,
Yes.
Mr. Romano,
Yes.
and Ms. Massey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right. I don't believe we have any new business. So we will now go to public comments. Would anybody like to make any public comment?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, excuse me.
I just have 3 questions. And
Sure.
do we need extra staff for the bookmobiles? Or bookmobile, I'm sorry.
I will let you
Yes,
cover that.
we actually are looking to hire staff throughout the library system. Previously, the bookmobile staff was a staff on its own. And what we decided this time was that since the Clara Barton staff, 2 of those staff members would be part of the bookmobile team as they were before, It is a combination Clara Barton Bookmobile department. So everyone in that library will have a turn to work on the bookmobile, including John. We will be hiring a second driver. Luis basically needs vacation. We also want to do 4 nights a week and do Saturdays and Sundays. So we will be hiring probably a new driver and probably one all clerical staff for the bookmobile. But when they are not on the bookmobile, they'll be working at the Clara Barton branch.
Thank you.
Excellent.
That's a good deal.
Yes, you had 2 more questions?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Is there summer programs set up for, like, college prep or for the youngsters?
Our team is meeting actually tomorrow to start to work on summer programs. And we hope that we're supposed to be meeting with the superintendent. We want to see how we can work closely with the schools. Also during the summer, we haven't been as close as we should, but I think we need to see how we can do some programming that aligns more with some of the school goals and objectives during those 2 months. So we have 3 staff meeting tomorrow to get the summer reading off and running, at least the programming aspect.
And is there books in the library to help some of our students with the AP try to expand their AP knowledge?
What we've done is we buy limited paper for the AP, but we have unlimited electronic AP resources in 2 of our databases, and we can let the schools know which ones they are. That was one of the reasons to meet with Dr. Alterelli.
Doing good. You're doing good.
I'm doing bad.
Alderelli.
If I call him Dr. Ed, that might be easier.
That's fine.
Because
Everybody else calls him
we get
Dr.
that request all the time, and we have them electronically in Learning Express and a couple of other databases, as well as BrainFuse, which will support the curriculum through free tutoring every afternoon, and we pay that as part of our one of our database services. So there's a lot we can offer the schools that I don't think they're taking advantage of. And that's a good reason for us to meet with him and some of the folks in charge of curriculum on a more regular basis.
Okay, make sure that I get a copy of that and make sure that we get as much information to the schools as possible, because we need as much help. We need more help. And if you're giving it away, we'll take it.
While you're on that topic, and I don't mean to take the board's time, but this past week, we had the board met at the North Edison branch for the union negotiations. And when we walked in, the place was crazy. Unbelievable. I mean, you see Fiona and Lisa. As you know, we have some of the parents who are orchestrating these tutoring sessions with their kids, and they're doing them at the library. So we literally must have had 50, 60 kids doing tutoring there by their peers. And I know they're going to extend that to the main library, and they want to extend it to Clara Barton. So we are providing these parents and students the space to help them have a place to actually get this free tutoring. So we were all like, what's going on here? And then I walked over to talk to some of the parents, and they were in charge, sort of dozens of kids doing tutoring. It was really fantastic to see.
And the Board of Ed's working on that also at the same time. That's why I'm saying maybe we should work collaboratively.
Definitely.
okay? Because not for nothing, children learn a lot. Children learn from their peers. And the earlier we get children into reading, the better they become. We're talking about, if you're talking about preschool, I mean, the faster you get them into preschool and learning abilities, that makes it a lot easier for the children, the students. They learn to read and then they read to learn. So there's a whole process. I just want to make sure that the library and the school system work together. I'm quite sure we can arrange that a couple of the people from here can meet with the board by us to take and have some sort of dialogue to make sure what you need and what we need to help the children along. I'm quite sure Margot can help us with her end of the deal and our end of the deal. So, I mean, it's about the kids and it's about learning. And if we can get the kids learning with other students, which I just got an email on that this morning from another board member. So I'd appreciate it if we can really move forward with that, if you can help us get the information out.
And if you want to help, if you can help us getting that set up, we'd be more than pleased to have the dialogue with the board. And I'm sure
Absolutely.
the board members here would be as
You
well.
name the time and the date, I'll be there.
Yeah, that would be excellent, because we definitely do want to work together.
That, this is a collaborative, what I've always said is, a handshake works really well. To sit and have the board here or have you there to sit down and discuss and to make sure we can get things moving. I mean, that's the name of the game.
Sure, definitely. Does
Thank you.
anybody else have any other comments or questions before we move to public comments? All right. Does anybody have any, are there any public comments? All right, hearing none, do we have any announcements? All right. We do need to go into a closed session to discuss contracts and legal updates, and I will read that resolution.
Motion to go to closed session?
Yeah, I have to read the resolution. Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act provides for the exclusion of the public at Board of Trustees meetings during the discussion of certain matters, and whereas prior to the exclusion of the public from a Board of Trustees meeting, it is required that the board adopt a resolution stating the general nature of the subject to be discussed and stating as precisely as possible the time when the minutes of the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public, and whereas this body is about to consider a matter which falls within the purview of NJSA 10:4-12 and can properly exclude the public from such discussions, now therefore be it resolved that the Edison Public Library Board of Trustees shall enter into a closed session to discuss contracts and legal updates. It is further resolved that the minutes of said discussion shall be made public as soon as the matter under discussion is no longer of a confidential nature. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
Motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second? All right. We are now in closed session.
You can have my share. I already ate too many. You don't? Okay, pass them down.
Okay, so now,
Do they stop the recording here?
yes, we'll shut that down, right?
I know. I've been there.
Yeah, Jody,
the
I guess if you
troublesome end,
leave that meeting.
of the
It's all
board.
good. Keeps things interesting.
Well, because we have to go back and talk.
Yeah, we have to go into a
Yeah,
session.
right, come on.
Okay, everyone sit so
Could we
we
have
can
a seat,
adjourn.
please, just for a moment? Do we have a motion to return to open session?
So moved. Well,
Excellent.
He got it, I'll second.
All right, you have it, you
got it,
second.
I'll second.
And before we adjourn, I just want to remind everybody that our next regular meeting is Thursday, April 27th, 2023, here at the Municipal Building. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Just 1 second, before we do, I think you just have to legally say that we have nothing to report from the closed
Oh,
session.
sorry, yes, we have nothing to report from the closed session. No action to be taken. Thank you.
Okay, now you can make your
Do we have a motion to
Make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Second? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, Jody. It is 8:52.
Good. I lost weight.
All right. Thank you, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Pat, is that your yellow bag under there?
So far, so good.
So one of your first comments at your first meeting was, this is a shit show.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Well, who's it for?
It's a Mishlach Manot for John Pointer.
Oh, it's for,
Corn basket.
oh, that's awful. Well, hopefully that answered some of your questions.
Alan, there's Mishlach Manot under the desk over here. Mishlach Manot, Purim basket. He speaks Yiddish, but he doesn't.